Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another very special edition of Maureen Mooney Presents. I'm your host, Maureen Mooney. This show is going to focus on a very special holiday that New Hampshire recognizes every January. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day. There's a group that we're going to talk about during this program called the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council. This group specifically makes it a point to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day every January here in New Hampshire. In fact, it is this group that hosts the annual Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream dinner right here in New Hampshire. My guest today is the founder of the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council. That is Wayne Jennings. Wayne, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Maureen, for having me. Appreciate it.
I've worked with Wayne for many years now, and I've known him for many years, and I'm so glad that he's here on this program and able to tell us so much detail about the council that's here in New Hampshire, and so important of a council it is.
Well, thank you.
So let's start right out of the gate with the basics. What is the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council?
Well, we like to think of ourselves as a group that promotes the fact that we have a great country and a great state, and people from different ethnic backgrounds have made our country and state a great state and a great country, and we want to highlight those very good qualities.
That's very important, and certainly something that every state needs, definitely. This is great. Now, how was the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council started or created? How did it come to be, and when was it founded?
Good question. I used to be the president of the Greater Manchester NAACP, and then, first I started out as vice president, then president. And I recognize the fact that the NAACP is a great civil rights organization, has a strong history. However, it does not reach out across ethnic backgrounds. And on top of that, it doesn't promote the fact that we do have a great country and people from all different backgrounds make our country what it is. So at the conclusion of my term as president, I said, I'm going to start a group that's going to really promote all the great things that we do here in New Hampshire as well as elsewhere. And I want to do something that's going to be inclusive of a lot of different groups. And we started out as the New Hampshire Cultural Diversity Awareness Council. And then we changed it to national because we started doing activities in other states. And some of them are we have a youth program that last time we did it was about a few years ago, but we want to bring it back. And it's the only youth program in the country that promotes diversity and promotes patriotism and a respect for law enforcement.
Wow, that's great. So much there. Is it specific to only New Hampshire, would you say? I mean, it is called the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council. I'm just curious how that fits into other states.
Well, because we were, with our youth program, we were bringing in kids from Massachusetts, and also we were hosting activities in Washington, D.C. at the Senate building, and that's when we decided to change the name to National. And now that we're working with some of the different consulates and embassies, we plan on growing the group and also continue to host events in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere.
Okay, very good. When you say cultural, what are you referring to specifically?
Well, mainly ethnic and racial, and also groups such as handicapped people, people with disabilities, and we like to keep it that way, stay mainstream.
I've been to several of your events over the years, and it's amazing how much you bring into the programs that you host as part of the council, both the training for youth in partnership with law enforcement, and the annual Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream dinner. You bring in a lot of culture into those events. Do a
Yes.
great job.
Well, thank you.
Now, if you were to answer the question, why was it founded, what would you say?
Well, to break down racial barriers, to bring people together, to have an appreciation of their ethnicity, and appreciate the differences that they have, and to promote that there's this great community called America.
Yes.
And if you live in America, you live in my humble opinion, I think one of the greatest countries in the world, if not the greatest.
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of patriotism
A lot
there.
of patriotism, yes.
Yeah, that's obvious too in your dinner and in the events that you've hosted over the years. You feel very strongly about that. Now, where can you find more information about the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council?
Well, we do have a website. It's N as in Nancy, C as in Charlie, D as in David, A as in Apple, C as in Charlie.org, ncdac.org. And feel free to call our office anytime.
How could people get involved, or if they wanted to get more involved, what would they be doing, for example?
Well, we can use some people to serve as worker bees on our dinner committee. It's a high-profile committee. It's a very high-profile committee for a high-profile event, which is going to happen on January the 20th, 2025 at the Doubletree Hotel. Our confirmed keynote speaker is the Consul General of UK, the British Consul General, and we also have the British Trade Minister too as a guest speaker. We've invited the governor as well as members of the congressional delegation, so it's going to be a high-profile event.
Oh, definitely, and we'll get into that because that is the premier event of the year that the council hosts every year. That is the Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream annual dinner to commemorate the holiday here in New Hampshire. Now, Martin Luther King Jr., a very important person in American history. He has ties to New Hampshire. In fact, he has ties to New England in general. I read just recently he gave the commencement address at Wesleyan College in Connecticut. We all know he earned his PhD at BU, and he has ties to New Hampshire. Why do you think it's important for New Hampshire to remember the MLK legacy?
Well, because I think that it's important that people never forget that when, after Dr. King was assassinated, he came to, of all places, New Hampshire, the North Country, Lake Winnipesaukee. Well, his wife did for peace and quiet, and she brought her kids with her, and that's where she found solace, and she found a great community that supported her. And also, while she was there, she wrote one of her books.
A remarkable story, and one that I have to say I don't think probably the average citizen of New Hampshire knows. This is really an amazing part of the MLK legacy, is just how important New Hampshire was to him and his family.
Oh, absolutely. And the King family, Coretta Scott King and her kids were guests of the Dunphy family.
Okay.
And the Dunphys owned a hotel chain at that time. And just think, they could have gone to Detroit, Chicago, or some place that was that's predominantly African American. What do? They come to a state that is predominantly white.
Yeah.
For peace and quiet.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's just remarkable. There was one dinner actually where you had a member of that host family
Yes.
talk, and that was really memorable. So in New Hampshire law, and I have it right here in front of me, it's RSA chapter 288:1, titled Holidays. It says right here, the third Monday in January, known as Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day. So that's in New Hampshire law, and it's the council that really recognizes that holiday and puts on the right type of an event to remember it for ages to come. Let's hear more about now that Keeping the Dream Alive Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dinner. How many years has that dinner been taking place?
Well, this is our 21st annual dinner.
Wow.
And we started out with, in fact, it was Governor John Sununu, the senior.
Okay.
Yeah, he was our keynote speaker, and we just grew it from that point on.
That's amazing. It takes place every year in January, according to the law of New Hampshire, on the third Monday of January.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, actually, incidentally, Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929. And so every now and then, I guess, the dinner actually does take place on his birthday. But obviously, the third Monday of January can't always be his exact birthday. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it comes pretty close, that is certain. Now, at the dinner, I have to say, Wayne, you throw a spectacular event. A lot of patriotism. There's entertainment, there are awards, there are guest speakers. It's just quite a program. Let's sort of go through how the annual dinner program proceeds through the evening. So first of all, there's an honor guard. And where are they from?
From Salem.
Okay.
Salem High School Junior ROTC.
Amazing. And they've been doing that for years.
Yes.
Then you have entertainment. And I know that you have had in the past Irish dancers, you have had bagpipers, all sorts of cultural dances and traditional ceremonial type dress. So tell us about the McGonigal School of Irish Dance.
Well, they're located in Nashua. It's a very, very good school. They specialize in Irish dancing. And in fact, they just came back from a competition. So very energetic young ladies. So it's going to be a fantastic program. And they assured me that people are going to be on the edge of their seats. Yeah.
I bet. There's no doubt about that. There are also singers,
yes.
High school singers. Where are they from?
Salem High School Select Choir will be performing.
Okay.
We may have some bagpipers as well as some Scottish fiddle players too.
Okay.
So the program is still it's growing.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. You know how to put on a real show. There's no doubt about it. The Table of the Soldier. In the introduction to the program with the entertainment and the honor guard and the Pledge of Allegiance, naturally, you have a very solemn Table of the Soldier. Can you tell us who does that and what takes place during that piece of the program?
Well, it's performed by the Salem High School Junior ROTC unit, Air Force unit, and it's called the Missing Man Table. And we pay tribute to those fallen soldiers, airmen, people who served our country, as well as those people who were missing in action. And from what I can tell, we're the only group in the country that does it on Martin Luther King Day.
That's amazing. Yes, you have the table set up, and you go through each item on the table and discuss and describe their significance to the Missing Man Table. It's a very moving part of the dinner. And I've been to several of the dinners year after year, and I find that part of it to be quite moving and quite meaningful.
Well, thank you.
Now, you're very good about keeping the program going. You've had a series of guest speakers over the 21 years of hosting the Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream dinner. Tell us about some of the speakers you've hosted over the years.
Well, we've hosted Don Newcomb, who played baseball with Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella. In fact, it was a great story there. What people don't realize is just how New Hampshire played a major role in integrating professional sports. And right after World War II, Branch Rickey decided that he wanted to integrate professional baseball. So he was looking around the country, went all around the country to see who would take 3 black baseball players under their wing. And everybody said no. And we want to take 3, but he says, well, okay, will somebody take 1? And then he found an organization in Montreal that took Jackie Robinson. And then he was still looking around for somebody who would take 2 black baseball players, Roy Campanella and Don Newcomb. So after making all kinds of phone calls, he finally realized, oh, well, you know what? there's this team in Nashville called the Nashville Dodgers. So he called up the general manager. His name was Buzzy Bavasi, and Buzzy said, "Hey, I don't care what they look like, so long as they can play."
Yeah.
Well, not only did the team embrace them, but the city and the whole state embraced Roy Campanella and Jackie Robinson. So when they moved up to the professional level, as they're playing, Martin Luther King came to one of the games, and Martin Luther King told them, all three of them, that they were making his job easy.
Wow.
And Branch Rickey also told them, said, "Hey, if Nashville had said no, that was going to set back the integration of baseball for a long time."
Okay.
So there you have it. New Hampshire's importance.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You give awards at the dinners. What awards have you given, as an example?
Well, let's see. We recognize President George W. Bush for promoting diversity and for serving as a great president. We've honored Rear Admiral Michelle Howard. We've also honored Hawaii Senator Daniel Inouye, the U.S. Secret Service, and we also have honored Senator Maggie Hassan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real good. Wow. Quite a cross-section of individuals also interested in the dinner, and I know everyone has a great time when they're there. Now, if people would want to come to the dinner, do they go to the website that you mentioned earlier?
Yes, they can go to our website at ncdac.org.
And you have sponsors at the dinner, too.
Yes.
A series of sponsors. Are those listed on the website as well?
Some of them, yes. We're also are encouraging companies to be new sponsors this year, so the door is open.
Oh, that's great. It's so important, too, to your important work of keeping this holiday, Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day, alive and well in New Hampshire. And nobody does that better than the council that you founded.
Thank you. And by the way, the proceeds go towards sponsoring youth programs that promote community involvement, strong communities, and also character development and leadership development.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned earlier that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his family have ties to New Hampshire. Coretta and the children came, as you said, to Lake Winnipesaukee after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was tragically assassinated. And that is just so amazing to think that Coretta and the children were here by the Dunphy family.
Dunphy family, absolutely.
And they have been at your dinner, and I know that they're huge supporters.
Yep.
And that is just amazing to think of. Also, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. mentioned New Hampshire in his most famous speech, "I Have a Dream," at the Lincoln Memorial.
Yep.
He called the mountains here prodigious. And in fact, I looked up, I know what prodigious means, but I looked up the definition just to get a real clear idea. And it means this: remarkably or impressively great in extent, size, or degree.
Wow.
So you know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. very carefully chose that word prodigious, that adjective, when describing New Hampshire's mountains.
Oh, absolutely.
Just fantastic. Do you have a favorite Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quotation? There are so many to choose from.
Just we should judge people by the content of the character, not by the color of the skin, which fits into what we're doing. And our event coming up is going to focus on Irish heritage, British heritage, and how the British and Irish and Scots too have helped to make our country a great country, and how we benefit from their economic development as well. Everybody benefits. Truly
is a melting pot community, and you definitely highlight that at your dinner and through the work that the council does throughout the year. Martin Luther King quotations, there are so many to choose from, and I like to put one on my Facebook page every January, and it's hard for me to choose which exactly one I want to use because there are so many good ones. I like "The time is always right to do what is right."
Oh, that sounds great.
Classic, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Just amazing. Oh, he was so inspirational. He died so young, too young. He was only born in 1929. He would have been 95, 96. That's definitely taken from us way too soon.
Yeah.
Now, if people are interested in helping with the event or joining the council, what would you need people to do, and what are you looking for in advisory board members?
Well, we like for people who would to come in, get involved, and maybe share ideas on how we can promote the event. The more people you have, more eyes you have looking at something, the better off you are.
Yes.
Somebody may have an idea on how to promote the event. They may have an idea on an entertainment group that we can invite to perform a number of things. So the door is open.
Yeah, that's great. And you're so accessible, definitely, with the council members that you have now, and you have regular meetings leading up to the dinner, and you really do a good job of keeping everybody informed.
Well, thank you.
And one thing I've always said about you is that you dream very big. You always have very big plans in advance for the dinner, and the sky is the limit to Wayne Jennings. You have big plans for the dinner this coming year and also for years in the future.
Thank you. And from what I can tell, we're the only group, not only here in the state, but around the country, that will be honoring the British on a Martin Luther King Day holiday for their community outreach and for reaching out across different ethnic backgrounds.
Yes, and last year you highlighted Israel.
Yes.
And how did that go?
Very good, very good,
Yes.
very good turnout, and we've always been very supportive of the Israelis, and we're glad to have them as a guest.
Yeah, hugely successful dinner, and that was great. I'm so glad I'm able to attend.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite part about being involved with the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council?
My favorite part is touching people's lives, especially young people. Making a difference in somebody's life, because somebody, well, in fact, not only just somebody, but a lot of people made a difference in my life, and I'm glad to give back to the community.
That's great. Real good reasons to want to be involved and be so active and dedicated like you are to the council. Any concluding remarks, Wayne? We're almost at the end of our program, if you can believe it, but any concluding remarks?
We would welcome your support, love to have your involvement, either as a sponsor or as a volunteer. Please reach out and don't hesitate to call us.
That's great. Wayne, thank you so much for everything you do for the Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream annual dinner and the council the whole year through. I know how dedicated and hardworking you are, and your daughter, Ashley. Yeah. She's a hard worker too, and you always put on a fantastic program every year.
Well, thank you, Maureen, for your support, and thank you for inviting me to be here. And your audience, you're a wonderful audience. We'd love to have you to get involved with our group.
Definitely. I definitely want to thank you for watching. This has been a very informative and timely program as Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day is coming upon us every January. Also want to thank Merrimack TV for producing this program, you, Wayne, of course, and the council members for all that you do throughout the year. And perhaps we'll see you at the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream dinner. And for more information, be sure you look at the website www.ncdac.org. Thank you again for watching. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.